Hi everyone. So right now we're going to show you how to string up your circular hoop loom ready to make your rag rug. So what I've got here is some of the fabric strips already torn, and you can see they're sort of like, I don't even know how wide that is, maybe 1.5 inches or something, but for the spokes of the loom we're going to rip these ones in half. So they're sort of about that, and you sort of want to clean that up a little bit so you don't have the loose strands everywhere. And it's really basically just a matter of putting it so it's roughly dividing it into two. And then what I found is easiest if you actually just tie a bow like that, because that makes it easy when you get to the end, and then we'll trim that off. In terms of how tight it is, not too loose, not too tight is basically the answer of that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do half of them in this colour and then half in the other colour, so it just makes it a little bit easier to see it. So I'm just going to start on the opposite one. This hoop isn't exactly circular, it's more oval, but that's not a problem. So then I'm just going to go, oops, okay, so I'm still adding spokes, and I think for this one I might add a whole other round, so I'm going to do now a new spoke in between each one like that. The thing with this technique is it's super forgiving, so it's not like the fabric doesn't have to be exactly this width, and they don't have to be a set width apart. And when you start making it, you get the feel for it as you go along, so it's not like you have to sort of understand it all before you begin. It's really like learn as you go. So what we've got now is our hoop loom strung up, and I've just got 8 pieces of fabric that are done, so it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, so it gives us 16 spokes. And to begin with, you're going to treat each spoke, the top fabric and the bottom fabric, you're going to treat those as one. So when we're weaving, you're going to treat that as one and go over and under the whole thing. Whereas down the track, we're actually going to separate them up, and they're going to become two spokes. So for the middle bit of the rag rug, we're going to use a finer bit of fabric. So that's 1.5 centimeters or something like that. And when all we want to do is just fold that bit of fabric so that the tails are uneven, if you can see that. And basically that just means that when we come to the end of the fabric, it's staggered, so you don't come to the end of each piece of fabric at the same time. So I'm just going to, well, I should really clean that little bit up. It's annoying part of the process to get all of the funny bits of string off it, but it actually really is worthwhile you doing it, otherwise it's very annoying down the track. So when you tear them, just take a couple of minutes and just get off those frayed bits, chuck them to the side, pop them in the bin. So uneven tails, and then just put that around one of the spokes. And in this first beginning bit of the rug, we're going to treat each of the spokes, the upper bit and the downer bit, just treat them as a single spoke, whereas down the track we're going to split them up. So there it is, right close to the middle. Okay, so top one now goes under the next one, pull it out, and then you cross them over. So you've got a new top one, which then goes under the next one, and again, just cross them over. Under the next one, cross them over, under, cross them, under. So now we've done a full circle. You can sort of, I think you can sort of push them up a little bit so it's a little bit tighter. It doesn't have to be super tight in the middle, but so what bit am I up to? Let me cross them over. Oops. And see, same thing under the next one, and then cross them, under, cross. So one thing I want to say about the tension of it is you don't want to pull too tight, basically. So when you're swapping them, you can see that I'm sort of, you know, pushing it up as I go, but I'm not like pushing it tight, pulling it really tight like that. So just want to keep the tension like gentle but firm, not pulled really tight. Otherwise the risk that happens is when you take it off the loom, it folds up like a bowl, which I've done. So take my experience from it. So you can see that I'm coming to the end of this bit of fabric. So I'm going to show you how to join them. It's super easy and it makes a really lovely invisible join. So I'm going to fold over that one, probably, you know, just under an inch or something like that. And then with the scissors, cut that bit so that it makes a slit, but it's not going all the way to the end of the fabric. And then with my new bit of fabric, I'm going to do exactly the same thing. Fold over the edge, cut that. So I've got two bits of fabric with the same kind of cut in them. I'm going to put my new bit of fabric over the old bit of fabric, open it so you've got the opening there, and then, let's see, I've got a knot in that. Take the tail of the new bit of fabric, if you can see that, and then bring it underneath and through both of them, and then gently pull that all the way through, and then you should just be able to keep pulling, and it'll just make a lovely little super neat join like that. And there you go. So I finished this rug because I've run out of yellow fabric, not because I'm quite at the end of the loom. So when you're doing your rugs, you can probably go up to about 5 centimetres from the edge of the loom to get the biggest rug as you can. But I'm going to finish this one off now and show you how to do that. So to start with, these are the two ends of my tails, and I'm just going to do a double knot, really not pulled tight, just firm like that, to tie off the two weavers. And now we're going to take off all the spokes from the loom. The ones that you've done as a bow, you can literally just undo them and then again do a double knot. I like to do a reef knot, which is just right over left and under, left over right and under, and just pull it like that. And then you just go around and do them all. So there is your rug finished. Ta-da! You can see that the tension isn't perfect, so this fabric here had a stretch in it, so even though I tried not to pull it too tight, it's come out with a little bump in it, but that's totally fine. And there is your rug.